Right. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Narayanam Gurum Vande Sharanyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gauramanopistam Purnam Radhadasyam Pradayakam Rupandugacharya Varyambu Rupamanjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Bandhavam Yugacharya Narayanam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Twise Namaha Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Ismira Hasar Murali Manohara Radhikara Sikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Kurum Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vrindai Tulasi Devyai Priyai Keshavascha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramu Ramo Ramo Hare Hare. So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramaradattama Shri Guru Pada Padma, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Shtotra Sata Sisrimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Shila Gurudeva, and to my worshipable Shiksha and Sannyasa Guru, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Shtotra Sata Sisrimad Shila Bhakti Vijnana Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to all Shri Rupanava Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. So by the causes mercy of Srila Gurudeva and all Mahabhagavatas Acharyas, we are able to assemble here one more time. So continue reading from Sri Ramananda Samvada. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking, what is the most worshipable object? Upasira madhya kon upasya pradhan shrishta upasya jugala radha krishna nam. Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, among all worshipable objects, which is the best? Shri Ramananda Rai replied, the holy names of Shri Radha Krishna are the chief worshipable objects. Raghunath Das Goswami has said, this verse 10 from Abhishta Suchana. It says, the name Radha is just like fresh, pleasing nectar that enchants the mind. The name Krishna is like astonishingly sweet and thick condensed milk. O tongue tortured by thirst, mix the two together, add the fragrant ice of Anuraga, and continuously drink this superb beverage. Very nice, very delicious beverage made out of these two holy names. Shinarottam Thakur also says, Radha Krishna Namagan Ei Se Paramadhyana Arana Koriho Paraman. The chanting of the holy names of Shri Radha and Krishna is a supreme meditation. Do not accept any other process as the goal. This is from Suprema Bhakti Chandrika, Song 6, Text 15. Shri Krishna is the very source or root cause of all incarnations, Bhagavat Swarupa. And Ladini Shakti is Sri Radha. Among couples such as Shri Shiva Parvati, Shri Lakshmi Narayan, Shri Sitaram, and Shri Rukmini Krishna, the name of the divine couple, Shri Radha Krishna, is indeed the ultimate object of worship for the jivas. Then he quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.22. Etavam mevaloke pungsam dharma parasmrita bhakti jogo bhagavati tam nama grahanadibi. This is also a very important shloka, very key shloka also, which says the supreme religious activity or duty for the jivas of this world is to attain devotional sentiments for the lotus feet of the Lord by methods such as chanting the holy names. This verse reveals two conclusions, two siddhantas. The first siddhanta is that bhakti is the only means for jiva's dharma, right? So the dharma of the jiva is bhakti. He's saying this bhakti yoga bhagavati pumsam dharma parasmrita. The paradharma to all living entities, pumsam, is what? Bhakti yoga or bhakti yoga. And the second conclusion is that it should be performed through Harinam Sankirtan, Tanam Grahanadivi. So that should be performed in the best way as Nama Sankirtan. So it's a very, very important shloka, also to memorize. Very, very key shloka. So then this concludes that chanting of the names of Radha and Krishna means Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the topmost worshipable object. You have to notice that they have not said that this is Radha Krishna themselves. Why? Because here he's speaking to a sadhaka, in a sadhaka level. So what is most beneficial for the sadhakas, right? So therefore all his answers about what is the most painful thing, he says this is missing the association of the devotees, like Guru and Vaishnavas. So everything is related to the realm of sadhana, okay? So next question is, what is the fate of those desiring liberation and those desiring sense gratification? Mukti and bhukti. Mukti bhukti vancheje kaha duhara gati stavara deha deva deho yachi avastiti. Shriman Mahaprabhu asked, what is the fate of those who desire liberation and of those who desire sense gratification? Shri Ramananda Rai replied, those who desire liberation and those who desire sense gratification achieve the bodies of non-moving species and demigods respectively. What is non-moving species? Like trees, mountains, this type of, any type of vegetable or plant. So this is the
it's strange. Why those who desire something higher, the liberation, achieve a lower body? For the point of view, like because the demigods are a higher position than no moving things.
Let's see. I'm also waiting for. Let's see what they will say. Then I can comment. Just those who perform pious activities in this world achieve the bodies of Indra, the king of heaven, or other demigods. Alternatively, they are born into high-class human family. And those who perform inauspicious activities repeatedly take the bodies of non-moving species, such as trees, worms, insects, birds, and beasts. So those desirers of liberation who do not have any desire to enjoy materially Or in other words, those whose activities are bereft of consciousness and whose consciousness is in a sleep-like state, attain the bodies of non-moving species of life. While those who are dedicated to material enjoyment attain bodies appropriate for their desires by taking birth in the higher planets as demigods. So basically what Gurudev is saying is that if you aim, liberation here means Sayuja Mukti. That has to be also clarified, means the impersonal liberation. It is almost like a nirvana or to be zero like. You want to merge into Brahma and lose your own, individual consciousness and become like in a state of nothingness or complete, oblivious, to the reality, to anything around. So, and that is a type of punishment that you're going to get because we know that this type of liberation is not eternal, and also this is not the ultimate, and not what Krishna really desires, that the jivas should, aspire for. So therefore, it's considered inauspicious, very inauspicious, to desire this type of liberation. So therefore, as a punishment, you will take birth in this lower species. I remember once Gurudev was doing some morning walk, and he was passing by a ant hill, and he pointed and he said, "Look, this is a Mayavadi Guru with all his disciples. They took birth as this ant colony, like that." So this is the result. But if you are looking for bhukti here means desiring to enjoy heavenly heavenly objects or heavenly birth, right? Those who aspire for these demigod planets. To do that, they need to perform pious activities in this world. They need to give a lot of charity and to follow some strict rules of Varnashram Dharma, many things like that. So in this way, they will receive what? The possibility of taking birth in the planet of the demigods as a result of their punya. So this is the meaning of bhukti. Okay. So now Gurudev is quoting this verse. Which says, those who merge in the undifferentiated Brahma, Sayuja Mukti, become unconscious like stones and achieve a state of spiritual inactivity or destruction. And those who follow the theories of Gautama become liberated and achieve a similar state. It means Nirvana and Sayuja Mukti. They're both same. So the following pertains to those who are possessed of desires for material enjoyment. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:10-23. Ishtoeva deva tayage swalokam jatyageka bunjita deva vattatra bhogam divyam nijarjitam. One who worships the demigods upon receiving the result of his pious activities goes to the heavenly planets where he enjoys just like a demigod. Kwachit pumang kwachit chastri kwaching nobhayam andadhi devo manushasti ragva yatha karma gunam bhava. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:29-29. According to the work he has performed and the modes of nature he has acquired, the living entity takes birth, sometimes as a human being, sometimes as a demigod, sometimes as a bird, animal, and so on. Blinded by ignorance, the jiva sometimes becomes a man, a woman, and sometimes a eunuch. Then he quotes Bhagavad Gita 9:20-21, which reads, "Those who are full of material desires and dedicated to fruitive activities mentioned in the three Vedas worship me and drink samarasa, the remnants of yajna, and pray to ascend to heaven. By the result of their pious activities, they achieve the planet of Indra and enjoy the divine paraphernalia suitable for the demigods. After having enjoyed the vast expanses of the heavenly planets, when their stock of pious activity is exhausted, then again they fall into this world of birth and death. Thus, persons who practice this sakama karma, or reward-oriented activity as described in the three Vedas, are full of petty material desires, and they repeatedly wander in the cycle of birth and death. So it's quite clear now, I guess. Jadav Govindo, you got the differences?
Yes, now I understood. Thank you, Maharaj.
Right. So the observation has been made that in some books, the words mukti, bhukti have been substituted for the words mukti and bhakti. It follows that those who desire bhakti at the time of perfection achieve the bodies of associates of Shri Krishna that are suitable to their moods and render loving service to him in concordance with their respective bhavas or feelings of servitude. Their attainment of this service to the Lord has been compared to attaining the body of demigods. As a result of gaining service to Shri Krishna and obtaining a body like that of a demigod, the word bhakti is sometimes used instead of bhukti. For just as the demigods have freedom to enjoy varieties of happiness, so too a devotee attaining an associate's body gets to taste an array of the most astonishing rasa by participating in Shri Krishna's pastimes. Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is writing Bengali. Impersonalists, Brahmagyanis, who are devoid of knowledge of transcendental mellows, are like the crows that continue to eat the bitter and tasteless fruit of the neem tree. Whereas those who enjoy the mellows of bhakti rasa, rasikas, are like the cuckoos who taste the soft and fragrant buds of the mango of prema. The unfortunate empiric speculators, Gyanis, simply experience the happiness of dry and tasteless impersonal knowledge and consider themselves fortunate. However, those who are truly fortunate constantly drink the nectar of Krishna Prema. The Gyanis remain ignorant of the happiness of bhakti, bhakti rasa, and merely desire to achieve the Sayuja Mukti of merging into Brahma, which is dry, nirasa, devoid of attributes, and which has no taste, form, qualities, pastimes, or astonishing varieties of bliss. Thus, they remain absorbed in the delusion of the supposed oneness of the Jiva and the Brahman, or Brahmya Eka Jnana, which has no real existence at all. Being cheated of Bhakti Ras, they simply chew the fruits of the neem tree in the form of the four supposed Mahavakyas, or principal statements of the Vedas, by chanting Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. So Aham Brahmasmi is one of the Mahavakyas. Then we have Tattvamasi Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma Pragyanam Brahma. These four Mahavakyas of Shankaracharya. What he did basically was to take these sentences out of context and then interpret them in an impersonalist way, right? But if you again read the original verses from where this particular sentences came from, then you understand that that context is completely in bhakti. There's nothing to do with impersonalism. Vedas does not advocate Mayavadism, although it recognizes impersonalism as part of devotion. You can be devoted to Brahma, no problem. You can means worship the impersonal aspect of God, but when you think you are God, you are Brahma yourself, then that becomes a problem, right? So in this way, it is very inauspicious, and these people can go to hell. Actually, there is that famous verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which says that those who neglect the lotus feet of the Lord, they will actually go to hell. They go to hell. They will be punished somehow. And then, I guess, after they may take birth in this planet as trees or mountains and things like that. So next one. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraja Goswami has said that this false knowledge is like the bitter fruit of the neem tree, which is very unpalatable and which is enjoyed by the crow-like jivas who are quarrelsome and attached to false logic. Thus, prema is likened to the buds of a mango tree. Those mango tree whose taste is sweet, well liked, and full of flavorful juice. The devotees of Shri Krishna who taste this are compared to cuckoos. They are fortunate, while the Gyanis are bereft of good fortune. Actually, the most inauspicious thing, is to follow this Mayavadi philosophy. Most inauspicious. As well as Buddhism. They are very inauspicious. They only bring misfortune to the jivas. Although you may see that they may prosper in the material world, they may become famous, make big ashrams, collect a lot of money, but sometimes they also help the people to do some cure, to cure some diseases. They sometimes have siddhis, mystic powers to do a lot of things. But ultimately, to the soul, they will attract only inauspiciousness. In this way, Sriman Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai passed the full night relishing the rasa of Krishna Katha, or topics of Krishna, and thus, as they chanted, danced, and wept, the night ended. The next morning, they departed to perform their respective duties. But in the evening, Shri Ramananda Rai returned to meet the Lord again and passed the whole night as before. So sometimes we may have the idea that the meetings between Ramananda Rai and Mahaprabhu was like a meeting of two business person, sitting comfortably and discussing. No, they did so many things. They took prasadam, they did kirtan, they danced, they went into ecstatic symptoms, they roll on the ground. It was like a big party, among them too. So here is the end of the questions and answers. And so now we go for the last chapter, the final evening. That evening, when Shri Ramananda Rai came to meet Sriman Mahaprabhu, they discussed topics of Shri Krishna for some time. After this, Shri Ramananda Rai caught hold of the lotus feet of the Lord and prayed with great humility. You have manifested within my heart the truths about Krishna, Radha, Prema, Rasa, and varieties of pastimes. This is exactly how Sri Narayana imparted the Vedas to Lord Brahma. The super soul, or the supreme controller within everyone's heart, always speaks internally, not externally, thus granting a manifestation of the desired object within. This is his general practice. So Ramananda Rai, during the whole process of the book and of the meetings, he was the one giving the answers, right, to Mahaprabhu's questions. But now Ramananda Rai, he's telling to Mahaprabhu that you have actually given me all these answers. You manifested within my heart everything that you wanted to hear about. And the answers also came from you. The questions and the answers both came from you. As the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.8 describes, Sri Bhagavan manifested a compiled the Vedas, which were disclosed within the heart of Brahma. I accept the shelter of that Bhagavan Shri Krishna, who in the beginning of creation inspired or manifested the Vedic knowledge within the heart of Brahma, and who manifests knowledge of the self, Atma Buddhi. It is also said in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.8.28. Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate. Sri Shukadeva Goswami spoke this Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana, which is equal to the Vedas, in the same manner that Bhagavan himself spoke to Lord Brahma at the beginning of the creation. Kalena nasta pralaye vanyam veda samgita mayado brahmanya prokta dharmo jasyam madatmaka. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.14.3. O my dear Uddhav, with the passage of time, this message of Vedic knowledge was lost when the annihilation took place. Thus, when the time of creation came again, I took it upon myself to instruct Brahma. And in these instructions, I indeed described devotional service to me, or Bhagavat Dharma. Lillakataste katitas samasata katrishnena najopi adhitatung yishaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 12.4.39. O best of the Kurus, I have given a brief exposition of Sri Bhagavan's pastimes. Even Lord Brahma himself would be incapable of describing these pastimes in their entirety. Kasmei janna vibhashito yamatulo jnana pradipapura. Srimad Bhagavatam 12.13.19. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the best manifestation of knowledge of the truth of the Supreme Lord. Bhagavan Narayana had previously manifested it to Lord Brahma. So Shiraya's purpose here is to show the similarity between the way that the original poet Shri Brahma received complete Vedic knowledge within his mind, simply by the will of Sri Bhagavan, and the way that Sriman Mahaprabhu manifested all these truths in the heart of Sri Ramananda Rai, and then had him reveal these same truths by speaking them. The next verse from Srimad Bhagavatam means the first 111 gives evidence for Sri Ramananda Rai's statement. So he's comparing here the relation between Lord Narayan and Brahma and Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. As Lord Narayan inspired Lord Brahma to again speak the four Vedas and reveal to the whole world, same way Mahaprabhu now is inspiring Ramananda Rai to speak Rasakata, Rasa Tattva. So we have gone through so many different topics along this book, and we have discussed very, very high and very deep topics. So we can consider actually this to be the continuation of Srimad Bhagavatam itself. It's not different from Bhagavatam, this conversation, because all the conclusions that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu imparted in the heart of Ramananda Rai, it was actually to give more, to go deeper and deeper in the understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam itself. So then the verse of Srimad, the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam explains how Lord Brahma was able to create and manifest everything. So it says, we meditate on that Paramatma, that form of eternality and truth, by whom this world is created, maintained, and destroyed. He who pervades all the spiritual substances. From that transcendental being come the spiritual world and the individual living being, both of which are similar in nature to him. The temporary material creation, however, is different from him. He is not inert matter, he is conscious. He is not dependent, he is self-manifest. He is not Hiranyagarbha Brahma, who appeared from the navel of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Rather, he bestowed the Vedic knowledge upon Brahma. He causes even greatly learned scholars to become bewildered in the way that illusion creates mirages, I think, such as the so-called appearance of water in the effulgent sun rays, land in water, and water on dry land, like in the desert. This material creation, consisting of the states of sleep, dreaming, and deep dreamless sleep, is brought about by the three modes of material nature. Means Satya, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. By his illusionary potency, this material creation appears eternal, although temporary. By his own self-manifest effulgence, he remains always and in every condition liberated from the illusory potency named Maya and her activities. Of course, this verse has many different meanings, right? If you read that book of Srila Gurudev, The Secret Truths of Bhagavatam, this is a very nice book. Gurudev there, he gives the 5 different meanings for this verse, each one related to a different aspect of the reality. So the first and direct meaning is this one that we see here, is Krishna regarding to his creation. Then the second interpretation will come as Krishna related to a spiritual world. Then after will be Krishna and the gopis in Madhurya Rasa. And after will be Krishna and Radha. And then the third will be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's very beautiful. It's a very profound, and it's a must-read book. It's called The Secret Truths of Bhagavatam. So, okay. I think we can stop here and then we can continue next time. Okay. So, Hare Krishna.